a wild pitch scored a run and a pass ball scored a run. But I think both of them should have been wild pitches if I remember correctly. And the bullpen was good in this one. Yet again, Steve Cishek did give up a run, but Brandon Kinsler earned his 9th hold of the season with a scoreless inning. Strop had a scoreless inning. And then this was Craig Kimbrell's MLB debut. Or sorry, not MLB debut, his Cubs debut. His MLB debut. He got the first 2 outs, and then I believe he gave up a 2-out double and a 2-out walk, which made things a little bit interesting. But he, I forget who grounded out to first base, but he got a ground out to first base to close out the game with a scoreless 9th as the Cubs held on for a 9-7 victory. And just like I said, a crazy game, back and forth. The Cubs trailed 6-1, and I forget the stat, but I believe it was the Cubs' first win, their largest come from behind win, because they were down 6-1. Sorry, they were down 6-1. It was their largest come from behind win since I think 2017 or something like that. But anyways, let's move on to this weekend series against the Reds. And the Cubs started this one off with a Game 1, very disappointing, very terrible. It was just a bad game. And we throw it on top of it, not just because we lost, but also because Cole Hamels left this game warming up for the second inning. All of a sudden, he was out. He went right to the dugout, right into the clubhouse. And eventually we learned after some time, I remember that it was so odd. Nothing really came out. No one really knew what was going on because it was so sudden. It was a left oblique strain, or I should say it is a left oblique strain. And the MRI was supposed to be on Saturday. However, that got pushed to tomorrow, Monday, July 1st. So we'll wait and see for the timetable for Hamels. I do want to mention that he had an oblique strain back in, I forget what year exactly it was, but the last time he had it, he was out, I believe, a couple months. 1 or 2 months. I can't exactly remember. But he said that this time around, it seemed like this one was not as bad. Whether, I don't know how much weight to put into that statement exactly, but all we can do for it is hope for the best for Cole Hamels, especially. Obviously, Hendricks is coming back this Tuesday with a 75 pitch count limit. But, to have both Kyle and Cole out, and we really didn't know Kyle was coming back until on Tuesday, until today. So when Hamels went out and been out the last couple of days, it's been a little scary thinking, if Hendricks was out longer. But anyways, hopefully Hamels can get back as soon as possible. But he did give up an earned run in the first inning, which tagged him for the loss, unfortunately, even though he only pitched an inning. And it was kind of disheartening, too, because the fact that he got the loss, yet Mike Montgomery in 2 1/3 innings of relief of Hamels got absolutely shelled. He gave up 5 earned runs off 6 hits and 3 walks. I mean, do the math. That's 9 guys reaching base and 7 outs of pitching for Montgomery. He gave up a home run, and his season ERA jumped up to 6.08. He only had 1 strikeout, and to be honest with you guys, I usually don't give up on players a lot. If you follow me at the Cubs Wave on Instagram, you'll see very positive. I'm very positive about the Cubs and always try to give out good vibes. But I've really kind of had it at this point with Mike Montgomery. I really don't know. I do not know what to say except that we really do need a lefty before the trade deadline. But anyways, Brad Brock was good though. He in 2 1/3 innings he gave no runs, only 1 hit and 1 walk with 3 strikeouts. But the Reds got out to a 6-0 lead at the end of 4, and that was pretty much the end of this one. The Cubs did get 3 runs in the 7th, thanks to Jason Hayward's 2-run homer. That was his 12th of the season. Like I said, he homered in every game of this series. And then Albert Almora had a sac fly to make it 6-3. Much like today's game in a way, because the Cubs trailed 4-0 today, entering the 7th and didn't score until the 7th. So it's frustrating. This team's been inconsistent offensively for the majority, if not the whole year, and I really don't know what to say. We haven't played well against the Reds all year. We've lost all 3 series to them. Yes, only one's been at home, but still, we should be winning all 3, or at least 2 of them up to this point. But anyways, too late. Too little, too late for the Cubs in this one, as we only totaled 6 hits. Like I said, Hamels got the loss. Sonny Gray was good, though. You have to hand it to him. 2 earned runs across 6 1/3 with 6 strikeouts. And Michael Lorenzen got the save with an inning and 2/3 to close out the game. Let's move on to yesterday's game, as the Cubs actually won this one 6-0. And once again, a very odd game. The Cubs led 1-0 all the way up until the 8th inning. That one run came in the 2nd inning from, of course, a Jason Hayward home run, his 13th of the year. And then the 8th inning came, and it was finally time to break through. The Cubs had bases loaded in, the 5th or 6th inning. Oh, yeah, 5th inning. Yet Jose Quintana struck out. There were 0 outs, and they had the bases loaded, up 1-0. Only up 1 run. We need some insurance. Yet Jose Quintana struck out, and then Kyle Schwarber grounded into a double play to end that threat. So it was finally time to come through. The bases were loaded for Javier Baez. I believe there was 1 out, and he hit a grand slam. It was so beautiful. His 20th homer of the season. It was opposite field. It barely got out. It's not like it was a bomb or anything, but it did the trick. It did the job. The Cubs then padded their lead to 5-0. And honestly, that was huge. I mean, the Reds didn't score, but you can't trust our bullpen at this point. Maybe 1 inning because we got Kimbrel now. But whenever you're only leading by a run or 2 with this team, 7th inning on or later, 7th inning and on, you really can't trust it. But Kyle Schwarber also added an RBI double in the 9th for the final score of 6-0. Like I said, a weird game in this one. Jose Quintana was good. 6 innings, 6 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. He earned his 5th win of the year. Steve Cishek, Pedro Strop, and Dylan Maples all threw scoreless innings. I do want to mention that Dylan Maples, this was his first game since being recalled. The Cubs recalled righty Dylan Maples and righty Rowan Wick on Saturday morning because they DFA'd Carlos Gonzalez. Cargo started hot with the Cubs, but then finished 7 for 40 with the Cubs. And he just wasn't very good. He wasn't the answer, yet it was a good guy to have in the clubhouse and a veteran presence, but, when it comes down to results, they weren't there for Cargo. So he got DFA'd, and then they also put Hamels on the IL. So that allowed the Cubs to bring up Maples and Rowan Wick, especially, too, because the bullpen was already pretty gassed, being that Cole Hamels left the game prior in the Friday loss in the 2nd inning early on. So that's why both those guys were called up. But Maples was good in this one as the Cubs won it 6-0. However, today they dropped the rubber match as the Cubs lost 8-6 today. And honestly, this one is this game, it was all right, we got beat. I thought, we got beat. We didn't hit at all, is what I was thinking after 6 innings. The Cubs trailed 4-0. It was a 3-run homer in the 1st inning, which was pretty much the difference from Eugenio Suarez up to that point off John Lester. However, Lester settled in. He finished with 5 2/3, 3 earned runs. All of those just came from that one bad pitch to Suarez. And he did finish with 8 strikeouts, so he did his job. And also Rowan Wick did good in his first start since being recalled. He went an inning and a third with no hits and only 1 walk. However, Dylan Maples struggled today, and he only got 2 outs, gave up 2 hits and 3 earned runs. And that was in the 8th inning. However, the way we got there, it was 4-0, like I said, after 6. However, the Cubs put up a 3 spot in the 7th inning, thanks to an Albert Almora RBI single, and then Kyle Schwarber hit a 2-run homer, his 18th of the year, to make it a 3-4 game. However, like I said, Dylan Maples blew this one, and at first you would have thought nothing of it. A 4-run 8th inning put the game away, you would have thought, for the Reds. However, Jason Heyward hit his 3rd home run in as many days with a 3-run homer, his 14th of the season, to make it 6-8 in the 9th inning. And that just kind of put a sour taste on this game, knowing that if Dylan Maples was able to hold the Reds scoreless in the 8th, obviously it's a different game, yada, yada, yada. And they probably have a different pitcher in there, honestly, too. But, I mean, it would have been a go-ahead 3-run homer for Heyward. Icing on the cake it would have been for him and his great series, and the Cubs would have stolen a win. But it wasn't that, as the Cubs fell short 8-6 in this one. And overall, guys, I'm also not going to do the NL Central thing today, being that we're already at 26 minutes for the episode. But I just want to touch on what this team needs going forward. And when you look at it, we have a 4-game road series starting tomorrow against the Pirates at 6:05 Central Time. And I usually would say that I wouldn't be mad with a series split. But this series needs to be a statement series for the Cubs, because we're playing way too inconsistent and way too average for given how much talent we have. When I look around the league, I see a lot of teams and players that have worse personnel, worse fans, a worse stadium, a worse fan base, yet more talent. Not more talent, sorry. They have less everything than the Cubs, okay? And I feel like this team just is meh right now. We're 6 games over 500, and when you look at it, something has to change. We've gone 6-8 in our last 14 games, finishing the last homestand with kind of a dismal 5-5 when you face the Mets, the White Sox, and the Braves. I mean, the Braves are good, but the Mets and White Sox should have been. The White Sox was only a 2-game series, but that should have been a clean 2-game sweep. And then when you look at the Mets, we had a 4-game series with them, and we split with them when you need to beat the Mets at least 3 or 4 at home. And then, of course, the Braves we split, which I'm fine with that. And then the Reds this last weekend, I mean, we've lost all three series this year to the Reds so far. And, like, I get it. The Reds are a frisky team, and, like, they have good hitters. They have pretty good pitchers. I mean, we did face Luis Castillo, and DeSclafani was good today, and yada, yada, yada. But when it comes down to it, the Cubs are a better team than what they're playing right now. And I'm just sick of hearing it. I mean, I guess I'm not sick. I shouldn't say I'm sick of hearing it, because it's true about, like, our fans being disappointed, etc., about our play recently. But they're true. I mean, they're right. This team, like I said, we have one of the best fan bases in baseball. We have one of the most talented and young rosters up and down our lineup. And it's not like we're not necessarily, like, hitting, because we still are seeing power numbers from a lot of guys. When you look at Javi with 20 homers, when you look at Jason Heyward with an impressive 14 homers out of nowhere already up to this point, and others with Kyle Schwarber already at, I think, 18. But it's not like that. It's not that, and it's not necessarily our pitching. It's just that we can't hit consistently. I feel like this team is going out there and, it's either scoring 0 or scoring 8. And, it's great to score 8, but you can't have these long, like, not necessarily slumps, but, like, these long periods of just playing meh. They're just playing so average, and it's really frustrating because we know the talent that we have. So anyways, guys, I'm going to end with that. I think this is a very big series coming up against Pittsburgh here as we get ready for